Hey everyone, thank you for joining me, Laura Wayman, the Dementia Whisperer, for my weekly Facebook Live show. During a recent interview, I was asked a couple of questions that caused me to stop and reevaluate my passion about raising dementia awareness. In my travels while sharing dementia care education around the country, I have felt frustration at the resistance that much of our society presents concerning the subject of dementia. So why are we so resistant to talking and learning about the many parts and pieces that are behind dementia symptoms? The first question that I was asked had to do with why I believe many people are not understanding the pressing need to become dementia aware. The interviewer asked, "How do you think society perceives people with dementia? Do you think the perceptions are accurate or not?" Well, this was my answer. Unfortunately, most of society perceives dementia only as memory loss, which is a huge and dangerous mistake. Yes, you can have loss of brain function and unable to access memories properly, but it is so much deeper than that. What I have found is that people ignore other very serious dementia symptoms as they're happening with their loved ones or clients, or even on a professional basis, because they don't know that it's dementia. They don't recognize it. Dementia is so global. It's so intensely impactful because of all the different parts of the brain that we can lose. So it's not just about loss of memory, it's about loss of ability to process, balance, and coordination. There's physical loss. It's about loss of the ability to think, to reason, to take in data, and then utilize it in an effective way. Those memory loss only perceptions, because they're not completely accurate and they're so limiting, often cause people to miss getting help early, getting some kind of basis or care foundation for how to customize the care approach. There's also a perception that it can be treated or you can recover. And unfortunately, with most causes of dementia, you're not going to recover. And the medical community has limited treatments. Most often you're not going to get better. The caregivers and those around them also don't recognize that they can't stop it, fix it, or change it. And then they spend so much time and energy with absolutely no feeling of accomplishment. It's such a dark subject. And so often people go into denial. It's just easier that way. I believe the world should be dementia aware for these and many other reasons. It is so important. Even if it hasn't yet touched your life right now, it is so important that we all become dementia aware so that we can support those who are being touched by it, or have been touched by it, or will be touched by it. Take a moment and imagine a person's entire life as a huge jigsaw puzzle. And now a cause of dementia comes in, throws the entire life picture into a box, and then tosses all the pieces up in the air. And then when you try and piece it all back together, there's huge gaps in the overall picture that was their life. And nobody, including the person, understand the full picture of what is happening. Then this interviewer asked me if I might share situations where I've been present when the individual with dementia symptoms experienced moments of clarity. And could I also share how it might be how it might possibly feel living with dementia symptoms. So here are some insights I have learned from working with hundreds of people with dementia in thousands of different settings, so that we might for a moment better understand what dementia is like. I have spent my entire career trying to see the world through the eyes of individuals with dementia symptoms and how it might feel to care for them, because I want to better understand the loss and provide effective tools to help manage it. When we see someone who is experiencing dementia symptoms, the cause of these symptoms is loss of normal brain function in many different parts of their brain. Yet they still have working function that is still there. So When you see these moments of clarity, they're hitting what they still have, that brain function they can still access and utilize. And it's so insidious because they can fool people who are not aware enough to look for this kind of loss alongside the remaining ability. For example, someone can carry on a complete conversation and really have it in line in their thought pattern, and then they'll hit a gap and it's like they go down a rabbit hole. And unless you're mindful, watching for that, a lot of times, then they come back, temporarily recover that thinking process, essentially pick up where they dropped off. However, progressive decline causes this temporary recovery to happen less and less. Over the years, by studying this loss, I've learned this very unique approach of the perception and communication, dementia awareness. You know, I always remind you, I don't ask questions, because the minute you ask someone who is having these challenges questions, it locks up their brain because they have to think about a response and their thinker just isn't working the same. And so when you join them where they are in their unique dementia journey, often it will allow their brain to relax and find the processing spark they still have. I was working with a lady by the name of Frances, and she was very, very, very far away in her dementia. She had that 1,000-yard stare, and when she was around you, it didn't look like she was really connecting. It didn't appear like she was there, present with you, but I knew she was. She was just having difficulty making that connection. She happened to be walking by. Oh, and I'd been working with her and her son for several months. And when she walked by, I said, "Frances," and she stopped. I said, "It looks like you're sleepwalking." That connected with her. She could relate to what I was saying in that moment and found that part of brain function that she could still share with me. She said, "Yes, absolutely." She engaged with me momentarily, and I'll tell you, I got chills because I knew that's how she was perceiving the world. We've all had dreams where they are so real to us, but we have the ability when we wake to think about and reason what is real and what is not real. That's almost what I believe it feels like as they get farther and farther away from their awake reality, that consciousness, that connection in their brain. In having many discussions and watching and trying to experience what they're seeing, why they're moving the way they are, why they're acting like they're hearing what they're hearing, something that I might not be hearing, seeing what they're seeing, but it might not be what I'm seeing, and how that would make me feel if everyone around me wasn't seeing the same or hearing the same. I have really come to understand, probably more so than the average person, what it probably feels like to have dementia. I grew up in a home where my mom was an amazing caregiver. She brought into our home so many children, foster children. Sometimes we would have upwards of 10 to 15 children in our small little home. It was an amazing place to grow up. Most of these foster children had special care needs, whether it was emotional or physical. Some of them had severe physical challenges. I had a foster brother who had brittle bone disease. I had one who had cerebral palsy. I had a blind foster sister. And so I watched as I was growing up through the eyes of all different people who had different things that they had to accommodate, different losses they had to accommodate. And I watched my mom care for them and accommodate all of these losses, no matter how severe or extreme. So I guess it's not unusual in my head to try and live and walk in their shoes, seeing the world through their eyes, because that's exactly what I watched and learned from my mom. This is why I believe the world would benefit from the unique and powerful raised dementia awareness. What a difference this would make in our care approach and the amazing benefits for all caregivers, professionals, families, individuals, community members, first responders, everyone. Oh, and for all of our professional staff members caring for residents in any long-term care setting, you're my heroes. My hope is that your leadership will recognize the contribution you are making every day, especially now with this whole coronavirus mess. Please check out my online care organization or first responder trainings. These are readily accessible for individuals or any size group or organization. They're easy to manage, affordable, entertaining, user-friendly. Raise your entire organization's dementia awareness and take your credible dementia care to incredible. I am so looking forward to our time together next Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So until then, keep in mind, I have many additional dementia-aware educational resources, tips, and strategies. Check out my must-see training options now available on my website, laurawaymond.com. Oh, and please email me if you have questions or if you want more information on this particular video or how I can help you with personal or group consultations or any of these trainings. Email me at help@laurawaymond.com. And of course, check out my book, A Loving Approach to Dementia Care, 2nd edition, published by Johns Hopkins University Press. And watch out, in the next few months, I will be starting to talk about my 3rd edition. Signing off for now, with love to all the caregivers, to everyone who is dealing with dementia, and those that don't recognize they're going to be, to all of you, with love, the Dementia Whisperer.